Hi, I'm Rita Wilkins, also known as the Downsizing Designer. So it's so funny. I ran into a client just the other day who I hadn't seen in over a year. And about 3 months prior to the pandemic, we helped them move to a smaller home so that they could be near their children and grandchildren. And she said, Rita, we're so grateful that that I encouraged them to downsize because they certainly had many fears around it, like many people do. But she said we're so grateful because um, during the COVID, they were able to spend so much time with their children and grandchildren safely in and outdoor many outdoor activities. And like she said, little did we know, or anyone else for that matter, know that we would have to shelter in place for almost an entire year. And it was, they just felt so lucky because they were able to spend time with their family during this period. And, like many of us, we have family and friends who we haven't seen in over a year. And she was saying that they have friends who it's been 1 year since they've seen their grandchildren. But then she also said it's not just, having a smaller home. I mean, it's not just, having a lot, lot of freedom and everything else. She said they love their small home. It's just small enough. It's just big enough. And she said it's so much easier to maintain, and they've reduced their expenses by almost 30%. So I just love the conversation because it fed right into my topic tonight about downsizing. So many people are afraid to downsize. This is not an easy decision, and so many fears are related to holding on. So tonight's topic is called the life changing decision to downsize and how to find that courage to take the big step. So, just to kind of continue on with this conversation I was having with this friend and this client, she said when they think back on, the time of indecision, she said we were worried and we were afraid. They were, afraid to leave the house that they raised their children in. They were afraid to leave the neighbors that they had, become good friends with, and all of the other familiar surroundings. But she said she also remembers being very concerned, and this is an everyday problem that my clients have, is how to get rid of um, the family treasures, all those things that we hold on to. And she also was recalling the stress related and the overwhelm related to the big house and all of the stuff in it. She said, I don't have that anymore because she downsized and probably they got rid of about 50% of their stuff. So, and the last thing she said, and I just really appreciated this because she was very vulnerable when she said it, she said, and as much as I hate to admit it, we were afraid to let go of the big house because we worked hard for it, we deserved it, and in many ways it was a symbol of their success. So if you can relate to this conversation, I just think that's why I'm sharing almost the entire conversation with you, because I think I hear it every single day, but she just kind of capsulized so many of the things that people tell me, why they haven't downsized yet. And then she said the thing about having the big house is that the tasks were never ending. I mean, if you have a big house right now, you can probably relate to that, where there's always a project, there's always some home improvements or some repair to be made. So it's not just the time, but it's also the money and all the energy that you have to put into all of that. Whereas, as she was saying, when she has a smaller home, she doesn't have that anymore. So, and the bottom line is she just had less time, and she didn't have as much time for fun. So that was, and sometimes just time to do nothing. So, but now that they've downsized, as she continued, the biggest thing for them was freedom, to do what they want and when they want. And when you think about having the flexibility to just wake up in the morning and realize you don't have a lot to do because the house is smaller, you don't have as much stuff. Sometimes if you're living in a community. Many of those things are already taken care of. But she said, we love the fact that we can do what we want when we want. And so she just kept going on and on. That's why I'm continuing the conversation. She said, our life is just so much easier now. You know, we're having fun together. We have time with our family. And if it were the big house, she said she knows that she didn't have that kind of time. So she was able to distinguish, you know, life before and life after. So for her, downsizing was a life-changing experience. And it was, you know, exactly what she needed at that time of her life, but they were afraid. So this is so normal that people say, Rita, we're afraid to downsize, you know, for all the different reasons that we have of letting go of the big property, of the image of having a big house, and of course all the accumulations that you kind of wonder, like, how will I ever get rid of it? So bottom line is, she said, we're so grateful for the new life, and that they finally mustered up the courage. So, and then when she said, this was kind of funny, she said when she looks back, they just say almost every day, like, why didn't we do this sooner? So if you're thinking about downsizing, but you're afraid, as many people are, like her, I would just say talk to your family and friends that have already downsized. Find out what their lifestyle is like now, and ask them, because they're the best source, ask them, you know, what they did to overcome the fear and how they gained courage enough to step into being bold and just taking that plunge. So I can tell you from my own personal experience, living in a big home before and now, my life is so much easier. I do have more time, money, and freedom. And life is just a whole different dimension. Now, that's not to denigrate those that choose to stay in their big homes, because they are lovely. But it depends on what you want, and it's your decision to make. But anyway, if you can maybe talk to some of your friends, family that have downsized, find out what they say. And that might be just that little bit of push that you need. So if you do need help downsizing, take advantage of my 30-minute complimentary call. It's on my website, Rita Wilkins, at ritawilkins.com. And also there's a free download if you go to the website. It's called the ABCs of Downsizing. It's actually something that I developed when I downsized my big home. And it's a way that you can manage the overwhelm. It's how to manage the project to make it easy, effective, and fun. I hope this was helpful. I'll also create a blog about this that'll be on our website, and we also, probably within another day or so, I'll have a YouTube video on the similar topic. Have a good night. Thanks.